Hello and welcome to another Spocky Hobbies. My name is Ben and we're going to go over the deck construction that for the Samurai deck that was featured through gameplay tutorials 2 and 3. And a good way to look at deck construction when you're first building player. This is kind of meant for newer players if you watch the gameplay tutorial. A good way to do it is basically deconstruct your deck into parts. So this would be my creatures here, and then I have my land up above, so I can look and kind of evaluate my land. And down here I have separated my other spells, basically what I consider my other spells. And so that's 60 cards right there. And this is a creature deck, so one of the first things that I do is I count up my creatures. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, 29. That's quite a few creatures. I could probably come down to that, and actually I do probably want to. I counted up my land, and I only have 22 land. I have the 3 special lands, the Boros garrisons, which I would like to add another. I think I'm going to go ahead and add another one of those. Let's see if I can get it in focus here. The comes into play. It'll tap for 2 mana. Those are great for sort of bolstering your mana curve and getting up to the higher casting spells. So I'd like to add those. And if we look at my number of mountains and my number of plains, I actually have more white spells, both in my spells and in my creatures, than I really have red cards. But I do have these other legendary samurai that I have acquired. The brothers Yamazaki. The brothers Yamazaki. And I'd really like to add them to my samurai deck. They're good samurais, and they're legendary, which will bolster my Condas Amato that basically get a bonus for legendary creatures. I also have, since I'm adding quite a bit of legendaries, I have this card that I just got from my commander deck that gives a legendary creature hexproof and +2/+2. So I'm going to go ahead and make a proxy of this card and add that to my deck as well. So I have some things that I'd like to add, and if we look at my number of spells, none of these spells are actually removal. The Sarah's Embrace and Angel Trumpet basically give vigilance to all creatures. I have an Ethereal Haze that prevents all damage that would be dealt by creatures this turn. I could probably take that out. The Bathe in the Light gives protection. I do have a couple of possibly combat removal tricks with the Call of Glory that untaps my samurai and allows me to block and hopefully, trade up. And the Test for Faith, which I really love. It's hard to know whether Test of Faith could be used in combat trick removal. I have the Hover Sail that gives flying evasion. I have the Condas Banner that gives legendary creature some +1/+1 abilities that we may have seen, and of course I have the Boros Guild Mage that really doesn't really do very much for the deck. And I have so many other creatures. I have 29 creatures that really I can probably switch this guy out right now for one of my brothers, Yamazaki, make it more samurai based. Now really this deck would be much better if I had more creature removal. So I'm going to go ahead and take out this Ethereal Haze and add in a Cage of Hands. And just with those quick switches, I now have at least 1 removal in my spells. And so if we count up this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what I got here is 29 creatures, 9 other spells, and 22 lands. Because one of the ways that I arrange it to look at and evaluate my deck construction is I look at the mana curve of all of my my creatures. The spells you're really not usually going to play on the first couple turns. unless they're burn or counter spell. So those won't impact your mana curve as much. But as you can see, my mana curve is actually pretty high. I have these guys that cost 6 and 7, and then I have a whole range of creatures that cost 4. I just added the Brothers Yamazaki that adds something 3. I got plenty of 2-drops. And I don't have very many 1-drops. My 1-drops are pretty meager, but it looks pretty good that I will be able to play a creature on the first couple turns. I got 3 Battle Ronin, 1 Flyer, a Samurai Pale Curtain that removes things from the graveyard when they hit. The Kama's Hamamoto, they get +1/+2 when I have legendary creatures, so I really do want to add these other Brothers Yamazaki and the retainers that are just 1/1 Bushidos. I do have some 3 flyers. I got the Indena Samurai. I have 3 legends here in white that basically give +1/+1 to Samurai either when they're attacking or just as a thing. I could actually probably take out the Komodo Sleeping Dragon. It's not strictly a Samurai, and if I really want to up the theme, although it does have Koming the Sleeping Dragon, it does have an Asian flavor. I do really like it, but I could lower my mana curve by putting one of the Brothers Yamazaki. What I do want to do is I do have like this proxy. So my rule with proxies that I want to add is that I don't make proxies of cards that I don't own. I basically, these are all cards from the new Commander deck. I really want to add this legendary equipment card that gives bonus to legendary creatures. So what I do is I make copies of cards that I already own on an Ode and I want to add to multiple decks. That just way when I play my decks, I don't have to switch out between games and basically move one card to another, because I have so many decks that would be ridiculous. Okay, so now I made a proxy of this card, so I'm going to put that over there, and I have my cards that I'm going to use as proxies. And right now I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 mountains right here, and I'm going to switch them out for the Boros garrisons. So let's go ahead and switch these out. I'm going to use Rapid Vigor as my card backs. Come on. So that'll add another Boros Garrison. And the Boros Garrison, because it taps for 2, it does return a land, so it's not actually Mana Excel. But it basically, once it bounces the land back to my hand, it gives me another land drop for the next turn, and I don't actually lose any mana count. The best way to do this, of course, is use the land before you bounce it back into your hand. That way, you know, you get to make the most of your mana drop every single turn. Okay, so I've added a couple more Boros Garrisons, but I'm still at 22 land. I really need basically more land with this many 4-drops. And if I ever want to get to, you know, 6 and 7, I definitely need to basically add more land drops. So I have to basically look at what I want to take out to do this. I don't think it's so important. I have so many creatures, I don't think it's so important that I give all of my guys vigilance. And I'm not really that impressed with Sarah's blessing. It basically gives all my creatures vigilance. And I think I have like a couple other decks that would really greatly benefit from this enchantment. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this and put back into a land. Now I have 9 sources of red. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this one right back into it. And I'm wondering if 23 is enough with the Boros Garrisons. Actually, probably not. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Plains because most of my spells are planes, and I'm going to look for something else to remove here. Let's put that over there. Now, the Ronin Master, the Hound Master, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my count a little bit. I'm going to remove one Ronin Hound Master and one Flyer. Rather than take out my Nurok Hover Sail, which gives any one creature flying, I'm just going to go ahead and take out this 2/2 Flyer for 4 Bushido. And these are going to be my other 2 slots for my brother's Yamazaki. I'm actually like lowering my count by 1, and then I'm just replacing it with the Ronin Hound Master. It costs 3. The brothers Yamazaki costs 3, and okay, so that'll give me. I just switched up to 1 more red versus 1 more white, but I don't think it's going to make that much big a difference. So I took out 2 creatures. Now I only need to add 2 more cards. I just need to add this Champion's Helm and the planes. Now this costs 7. I could take one of these out because it's unlikely, because it's indestructible. It's unlikely that it's going to be destroyed. It's gonna, like, if it removes, like, so be it. I think I'm going to remove one of these guys just because, like, they cost so much, and if I do get it out, it's unlikely that I would ever need a second one. And I could really make my game a little bit more aggressive by playing something a little less costly. Okay, so I've now added my Champion's Helm. So that will go with my other spells. Now it means that I won't get him as often, but it'll probably take me half of my deck just to get up to the land count to even play him, because I have 24 land. So I'm thinking that there's a pretty good chance that by the time I get through a third of the deck, if I draw him, I'll be able to play him. Versus, like, if I get 2 of them, I most likely will get him in my hand before I'm even able to play him. And now I just want to look for this 1 plains. I would really like to go up to a land count of 24. Do I want to sacrifice that to call it quits? I did lower my count significantly by taking out one of my casting cost 4 cards and one of my casting cost 7 cards. So now I have a much more aggressive cards. It's funny, you only have to take out just a few cards to, you know, really change your mana curve. Because now I have 3 more, two more cards at casting cost 3. I switched out, you know, 1 more casting cost of 3 on my Champion's Helm, and now my curve looks a lot better. It looks like I have a lot lower drops. So the question is, would I rather have that 1 mountain that I added or the 1 plains? And my deck is still very much geared towards white, both in spells and in creatures. So I'm going to go ahead and gangsay that one choice. I'm going to go ahead and take out this mountain again. And instead I'm going to add the 1 plains. And that'll give me 12 plains. Let's see here. 8 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mountains. But I added 2 more. I added 2 more sources of red. So I actually have 6. Let's see here. I have 6 plus the 4, so I have 10 sources of red, and I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spells that need it. So this is kind of what that I do when I look at deck construction. What the most important thing about any sort of deck construction, if you're playing a creature deck, is that your mana curve looks good. It looks like you have early plays, you're not stuck at all high spells. That way you're not caught with your pants down in the early game. Also, the reason that this would probably be a pretty bad deck, I could probably use that 1 more land. I didn't want to make the cuts, so, you know, that's how it's going to go. And really I have 10 spells here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I still have 9 spells. But really, I only have 1 removal. Out of these 9 spells, probably, if this was going to make a better deck, I'd probably have half of these be removal. I really need to use the Call of Glory, the untap all samurai, untap all creatures, all samurai I control, get +1/+1. Let's see if I can the focus a little bit off. I'm not going to fool around with it. But I really kind of need this Call of Glory as a combat trick where I use it as creature removal. So I'm going to have to remember that my Call of Glories, I'm going to try to use some creature removal. This is at 15 minutes now, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. This has been sort of a deck construction and a relook at the Samurai deck, which we saw in our game puppet tutorials, and I hope to have the Muruganda Petroglyphs up as well. So thank you for watching. My name is Ben. Have a good day.